super easy, right? Because you have to factor in the fact that the Fed won't be printing money like they were probably unless we get in a really bad depression kind of scenario. So I think it's going to take some time, just like in that period on the charts, there was about a 6 month sideways chop where we went up a little bit, then we came back down and so forth. So I think it'll take some time, but I do think that the market here over the next 6 months will make even the most bullish Bitcoin investors worried.
Yeah.
And then that'll flush out the weak hands. And then the people that are left standing, they will end up making money. But, I do think that, again, it will see $500,000 to $1 million in probably within the next 5-10 years in terms of an investment, which you can't beat. I mean, even at 16,000, that return is incredible. Incredible. In fact, I have a bunch of trend lines on here. One of my favorites is to show the breakout that occurred on Litecoin and then how it retraced to the line that it broke out from. So what you can see here is Litecoin. See this trend line going from all the way back here. It touches here, all the way down. Even right here it touched. And what you could see here is it broke out, had this nice bull run, and then look at when it retraced, it went right back and touched this level. And I call that a retrace to the scene of the crime, or like a retrace to home base. It always likes to come back there, and then that's the catalyst for the next move up. So you're right. I mean, Litecoin has been remarkable here. In fact, I was looking at BSV earlier today too, and that had a crazy pop. Look at this pop here. And apparently that had to do with one of the exchanges or something like that not allowing leverage anymore or limiting the leverage. And so there was a ton of short covering that occurred that's going on in some of these cryptos, and it's causing these big pops right now.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things about that too is that if you look for something that could cause a pop in crypto, if you do get regulation, and let's say the regulation says, okay, exchanges, you can't offer more than 2 times leverage, right? Now, we know some of the exchanges offer ridiculous leverage. Well, it might actually cause a lot of short covering in the crypto market, which actually could pop cryptocurrencies nicely. So, just a little tidbit there. So there's always a chance that it does, but trend lines that are sloping this sharply to the downside, usually you'll get the first check back, and then that'll be about it. So now it's not to say that you can't come back to a level like for instance, you have support levels here, right? So this will be a big support area right here. You can see how this was the high, and then it got above and it kind of paused before that next. So, I mean, this will be a little bit of resistance right here, or support, I should say. Here was your high. It went up. It retraced right there. So you have little levels along the way. But in general, this steep of a trend line, you probably won't go back and retest, because if you did, let's say in 6 months, you went back to this line. In 6 months, this is probably like $10 or lower.
Yeah,
and so
that's
let's all hope that it doesn't go back. I generally analyze the dollar to the cryptocurrency pair, but I think it is worthwhile to just look and see, well, how is one trading against it? Like, so let me bring up the chart again, and we'll look at Bitcoin.
Oh, cool.
In comparison here, but you can clearly see that Litecoin is far outperforming, right? So here was the Litecoin dump that occurred when FTX dropped, but notice how Bitcoin made a new low here, while Litecoin only went back to these recent lows right here. So you definitely see some added strength in Litecoin. And again, I'm not sure, to be honest, what's causing this. I honestly don't know. But it is very intriguing to see some of these coins starting to wake up here. And again, what's causing it? That's my next kind of thing, is to delve in to see what's causing these type of moves. Yeah, the positive thing about ETH is that at least performance today-wise, you're getting a nice pop. It's back above 1,200, and it's testing this resistance area right here. So if it can get above this and hold above, you actually could have a nice move up to like 1,400, 14 and change. But in general, because, I mean, this is the tricky thing. Ethereum and Bitcoin are very much tied together in that they are both the biggest, the most widely held cryptocurrencies, so that they tend to kind of trade on human emotion, right? If people are panicking and Bitcoin selling, it's hard for Ethereum to not sell a little bit. I think you definitely have relative strength in Ethereum right now compared to Bitcoin, but again, they probably move in general in tandem. No, I generally agree. I think that the 4-year cycle was valid while the Fed was doing quantitative easing, right? So Bitcoin started in 2009. Well, 2009 was the same year that the Fed started quantitative easing, which is money printing. And so since then, we've had 4-year cycles, but you have to recognize the impact of printing money and what it's done to Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto sector. So it's very valid to say that it could be different going forward without the Fed doing what they're doing. Now, again, is it going to be 6-year cycles? I mean, I'm sure cycles will play into it. It's very likely that the bear cycle could be a little bit longer. And by the way, I think that's important to recognize is like we're already, if we make new lows here, so if you look at 2017, you bottomed in 2018 about 1 year later. That was when Bitcoin bottomed. We're already at that 1 year point. And so if we do go lower, then we can say, okay, now this cycle is a little bit longer to the downside. The positive to that is that it's very possible that this is the healthy kind of readjustment cycle without Fed printing, where you're actually going to get real investors that aren't just throwing money at Bitcoin, and therefore the bull cycle could actually last longer because of it. Yeah, and honestly, that would be the healthiest thing for Bitcoin would be to mature into an asset that goes up slowly, but over time, just consistently, right? So, when you get these crazy runs where Bitcoin went from 3,500 bear market cycle to 69,000 in a very short period of time, that honestly isn't healthy, because what it breeds is these people that think that it's like a get rich quick method. And those aren't real investors, right? No. Real investors are like, okay, I'm going to go in this because I think it's going to be, a good percentage return year on year for the next 50 years. And they're like the long-term kind of holders versus these type of ones where they jumped on board thinking it was going to be easy money, like it was going to be 100,000 by December of 2011 versus the 70,000 that it kind of topped out at. So yeah, I think that would be healthier for Bitcoin and the crypto markets. I'm in the camp where I believe that the charts give you a signal ahead of time. It's just a matter of, can you read that signal? Mm-hmm. So like what oftentimes will happen is that, and this is kind of an interesting thing, is like, you'll have smart money that is in the know, meaning that they might have inside information. They might know what's going on at the company, like some news is going to come out. And so you'll see the chart starting to like uptick a little bit, which is them buying only a few people, but enough to kind of create a little bit of whipsaw, a little bit of upside early. And then miraculously, all of a sudden, a big pop comes and you're like, oh, wow, that's interesting. So I think you get a lot of that stuff in markets in general. So I do think that in general, the charts will tell you there's news coming if you know what to look for. In terms of the Polygon chart, it's kind of an interesting chart because number one, it's well off of its lows. So it's been performing amazingly well. The one thing I would say, and again, you have this trend line, there's a line that I want to see Polygon hold, which is this one right here, right? So in fact, I'm going to get rid of this other one so we can clearly see it. So if we zoom in, you can clearly see pivot low, you kind of kissed it there and there. So as long as Polygon holds that, I think it's actually an intriguing long story here, an intriguing buy, but I just wouldn't want to see it break that line. That would be a line that if it broke, then you start heading down to like 60 cents or so. Where could Polygon potentially go to? Mm-hmm. And really all we can do is follow the chart levels, right? So first support is going to be right in here. You can clearly see that there's, this sideways chop and then this high and then it broke out. So, retracing to 62, 63 cents, that's going to be major support. Now, if it breaks that, then you start getting into potentially the double bottom here at around 33 cents. There'll be small pivots here of support and here, but this would be the next big one. So again, there is some risk. But again, it's a matter of, if you're a Polygon fan and you're an investor and you want to be an investor, the biggest thing to do here is, if it gets down to 63 cents, you buy a little bit, but not your full position. And then you can always add on the way down if you're a fan of the coin, right? And I think that's the key, is that investors tend to want to go all in on an investment right off the bat. I did that when I was young. I did that in my early years because all I was thinking about was, how do I make as much money as I can as quickly as I can? And then you know what happened? I'd make money on like 1-2 trades and then I'd like lose 90% of my money on the next trade. And so I was like, wait a minute. So that's not working. And I did that like 20 times before I realized I was a super slow learner. But finally I was like, okay, well, what if I buy, I like the long-term story here. What if I buy a little here, here? Okay, now my overall average is down here, and then the bigger move comes, and I was able to kind of get a much bigger bang for the buck. And that's how I was able to really build wealth. Like that, it helps you because you don't go all in and then you're down 50%. Instead, you slowly inch in, and then when the pop comes, you're actually making money a lot faster. what it is.
Yeah.
To be honest, the markets, and it doesn't matter what market it is the markets will eat you alive if you're emotional, right? The markets know exactly where the maximum amount of people will sell and exit their positions if it drops to a certain level. And it also somehow knows the highest level it needs to push to lure the most people in before it then falls back down. I mean, look at Bitcoin, right? When it was at 65, 69,000, the hype was intense. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without everyone just talking about it. It was just getting everyone in. And then what happens? It falls to sub 20,000, right? So you have to be able to control your emotions. It's the biggest thing in any market.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy how high food prices have gone. And what they do is, this is the crazy thing, right? So in the store, the tub of ice cream used to be like $3.99 or whatever for the tub of ice cream. And it used to be like a half gallon or a gallon. And then they'll keep the price at $3.99, but you'll notice you'll be like, wait a minute, it's about half the size,
Yes.
It's like out there, so prices going up, people are like, okay, well, I have a good job, maybe I got a raise, whatever it was. But like, if you get in a scenario where prices are this high or continue to climb, and we go into a recession where there's lots of layoffs, that's really going to cause some big issues out there.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of ice cream, what's your favorite flavor?
Cookies and cream or cookie dough, one or the other. An educational course. Actually, we're doing a Black Friday 50% off that goes through tomorrow deal. So if anyone wants to get involved on that, it's really life-changing stuff. Like the stuff people are telling me is amazing. They're saying like, this literally is changing the way I view the markets. I'm able to make money and everything like that. And the beauty of it is it's universal. Like you could trade stocks, crypto, anything. It's all universal. So I think that's really kind of one of the positives about it. The website's verifiedinvestingeducation.com. And basically it's everything that I've learned in 20 years of trading, of charts and psychology and discipline and all that stuff, getting rid of that emotion. It's all in there. And again, the website verifiedinvestingeducation.com. But yeah, I appreciate you letting me mention that, because it's very, very cool, and it's close to my heart. It's kind of like I see, like, when I'm not here on this earth anymore, I still think that will help people, that people can learn and then avoid kind of the nonsense, because there's so much craziness in the markets, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks, there's shady stuff going on. And reading the charts kind of does tell you that, okay, I should avoid this, or, oh, I need to get in this. So very, very cool. And aside from that, go get a good guac and chips right now.